Alright, good day class. Today we're going to work on the distributive property. The distributive property is a multiplication property. Okay. So the first problem, problem A, there's a 3 outside the parentheses, and whenever there's a 3 or a number next to parentheses, it means to multiply. Okay, even if it's like this. Okay, that's a multiplication problem. Alright, so the 3 gets multiplied to everything or distributed to everything that's inside the parentheses. So we need to take 3 times x, and we get 3x. And then 3 times 8, now no, it's a positive 8, which is 24. So 3x plus 24. Okay, and that's our answer. Okay. On the next one, we have a negative 7 that's outside 5b minus 4. Now know that multiplication can go in any order. So remember, you can take 3 times a or a times 3 and it's the same thing. Well, that works in distributive property too. So this problem is the same thing as having the 7 out in front, the negative 7 out in front. Okay, so the negative 7 gets distributed or multiplied to everything in parentheses. So we have negative 7 times 5b, which is negative 35b. Okay, and then negative 7. Now this is a minus 4, so it's the same thing as a negative 4. So we have negative 7 times a negative 4, which is a positive 28. Okay, and there's the distributive property. Let's do a couple more. All right, now we also can have a negative 1, okay, or a negative outside our parentheses, which is the same thing. On this one, it's just like taking negative 1 times anything. So if we take negative 1 times 4, that's going to change to negative 4 answer. If we take negative 1 times a positive x, our answer is negative x. So whenever we multiply negative 1 by something, it just changes the sign. Okay? So the same thing in the distributive property. When we have a negative outside our parentheses, all it's going to do is change the signs that's inside the parentheses. Okay? It's like putting a negative 1. Okay? So in this problem, we're going to distribute a negative 1. So negative 1 times x is negative x, and negative 1 times a positive 6 is negative 6. Okay? The one thing I want you to remember here is whenever there's a negative in front of your parentheses, to always put a 1 there. All right, the next thing our distributive property helps us do is look at fractions. So here it says what sum or difference is equivalent to x plus 2 divided by 5. Okay, and the thing you need to remember about division, this 5 is actually being divided into everything that's in the numerator. Okay, so when we split up or when we change the way this is written, all we have to do is put a 5 under both numbers. So 7x plus 2 divided by 5 is the same thing as 7x divided by 5 plus 2 divided by 5. Okay? And the same with subtraction. So if we had 2x minus 6 divided by 7, and we want to split that up, okay, and it's equivalent, we're just going to have 2x over 7 minus 6 over 7. All right, next one. Using the multiplication property of negative 1, okay, this is multiple choice. What is the simplest form of negative, the quantity of 2y minus 3x? So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze a 1 in here. And I'm going to distribute and then find which one of these matches my answer. So I'm going to take negative 1 times 2y and get negative 2y. And then negative 1 times a negative 3x, which gives me a positive 3x. All right. Now remember, the only thing the negative did is change the original problem. So here's my original problem. Okay, and look in the parentheses. The 2y is positive, now it's negative. The 3y was subtraction, now it's positive. Okay. All right, and which one of these match? It would be C. All right. Vocabulary. Does each equation demonstrate the distributive property? Okay, so just a quick double check. Negative 2x times x, negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. So that one's a good one. All right, this one we have 8 Oh, this one doesn't distribute, but are these equivalent to each other? Okay. But do they demonstrate the distributive property? Okay, no, because the distributive property actually multiplies the outside number. Okay, so this does not demonstrate the distributive property. Okay, the next one, here's the one that demonstrates 5n. Okay, and then 5 times -9 is -45. So this one's good. All right, in this one you can look, is this multiplication? No. The distributive property is always multiplication, so this does not demonstrate the distributive property. Okay. All right, error analysis. Identify and correct the error shown. All right, so this one they actually solved a problem for you, and you need to find the error and correct it. All right, so they took 4 times x, got 4x, and they took 4 times 5 here. Okay, but what's in between those? It's a plus, and they put a multiplication. Okay, so it's wrong because they multiplied the two terms instead of added. So the correct answer would be 4x plus 20. Okay, and you cannot combine those because they're not like terms. All right, here's another error analysis. A friend uses the distributive property to simplify 4 times the quantity of 2b minus 5 and gets 8b minus 5. As a result, describe and correct the error. Okay, so let's do it, and then we can find the error. That's the easiest thing to do on these. Okay, I got to take 4 times 2b, and I get 8b, and then 4 times -5, I get -20. Okay, all right, and they got 8b, which is good, but they got -5. So what didn't they do? Okay, they did not multiply the 4 times the -5. Okay. All right, and we corrected it. All right, have a great day. And just a little thought or a little information. Did you know the first lemon seeds that were brought to the Americas were brought by Christopher Columbus? Have a great day.